Hi, my name is Nneka Onyeka. I'm a Master's of Public Administration student at Columbia University. I was born and raised in Chicago, but I'm Nigerian by origin. I always draw back on my experience in Uganda, even though that was in like undergrad and I was like a sophomore and junior. I still think that experience on the ground working with community leaders and organizations, but also with the people, I think that is invaluable experience because at the end of the day, you could be in these classrooms in grad school talking about different frameworks to employ or like how you should go about doing this work. But until you do it, for real and you're in the field seeing these problems firsthand, and recognizing that, oh, even though I learned this in school, it doesn't apply 100% to this circumstance. So I think just having real work experience in the field is so important, but also like language skills too, like go pretty far. So just being able to connect with the people that you're, working with and creating programs for is another part that I think gets overlooked because at the end of the day, we are all humans, we are people, and how we interact with each other influences what we can move forward together. So the more we feel some sort of oneness, some sort of togetherness, more like you're a part of the community versus an outsider trying to do something to someone, the more we could bridge that gap, I think the more impact we could make. So definitely having that experience on the ground to just better inform or better to complement the work that you have or the things that you've learned in the classroom, but also the language skills to kind of bridge the gap between being an outsider versus being like a community member who is equally invested in creating impact for people on the ground is useful. I think a lot of people, when they are applying to grad school, they reach out to me and they're like, oh, I don't know, like if I'll be competitive enough, or I don't know what to say. But honestly, I think everyone is equally competitive. It's just how we narrate our stories. Like, how are we able to showcase who we are and why our experiences are equally as relevant? Because when I look around in my cohort, everyone comes from a different, background. Not everyone was working at the UN before they got here. And I think it's so important that people recognize that their skills and past experiences are valid reasons enough on their own for you to want to pursue a graduate career. It's just, how do we talk about our experiences? Like coming from a non-traditional background, like even though I came from tech consulting, there are skills that you see within that space that are transferable across. Being able to manage stakeholders, that's important. Being able to manage work plans and timelines, being able to manage teams. These are all skills that aren't exclusive to one sector, but can be applied to many across. And so I think it's just, the main challenge is really trying to articulate why your experiences have led you to this path and why you're interested in this. I think that is key. Definitely cultural. So I'm Nigerian American. My parents came here from Nigeria, and I was born in Chicago. But my Nigerian, my Igbo culture, my culture is very much embedded in everything I do. And I think especially when I talk about trying to work in sub-Saharan Africa, even though the continent is very diverse, I think some of the same principles still apply throughout, which is like this community-oriented nature of things. And I remember something that one of our hosts said when I was working in Uganda is like, time is coming. Like, I think there's these different views on work and like life throughout the world, but I think understanding, that there's more value in community and family as opposed to these external things. Um, really kind of helped me in my approach to development work and just in my approach with people and relationship building. So I think bringing, cultural principles, I think that's just a part of who I am, and that's transferred into all aspects of my life, whether that's friendships, work, school, and things like that. I do place a strong emphasis on community and getting to know people. And I think that's pretty much in line with what you see in many parts of the world outside of the West in general. So I think that's one thing for sure. This is going to be so cliche and I hate saying this, but like people, a lot of Nigerians joke about like the different career paths you could have, like doctor, lawyer, engineer. Um, and that's what I was kind of pursuing when I first got into undergrad. And so me going down this uncharted path of international development or like policy and public affairs, like what is that? And to them, they didn't see it as a very stable or sure career path. At least with the other ones like engineering, doctors, what's the other, lawyers, there's like this set career path. And at the end of the day, you're gonna have this sense of stability by the time you graduate. So when I pursued this path, my parents were very much confused, not necessarily fully on board because they just didn't understand it. But I think once I started building experiences, once I started getting a lot of opportunities like traveling around the world, doing different types of work, meeting new types of people, I think they saw the value in it, but they also saw how it kind of shifted who I was